Today I've taken a road trip to Cushman, Arkansas, and we're going to explore Blowing Cave. I'm so excited to learn about this cave. I've heard it's huge. We're not gonna get to show it all today, but we're gonna learn about how you can come take what they call a wild tour, and we're gonna learn a little bit about the mystical history that it has as well. Let's get going. So I'm here now with Destiny. We are inside the cave, and I know that y'all have done so much work. Tell me a little bit of history about Blowing Cave.
So Blowing Cave has been explored since the early or late 1800s. So about 1886, the town of Cushman was established. And this used to be the hub or the main spot that people would come in and they would get together, they would have picnics. There was even remnants of a wooden dance floor once upon a time a little further inside the cave. So the locals have enjoyed it for a very long time.
I know that it did kind of fall into dilapidation, or at least there was some vandalization that was here before, right?
Yeah, so that happened within the last decade. So over the course of 10 years, this actually from floor to ceiling was covered with graffiti inside the cave. There was also lots of broken glass, beer cans, trash, and things like that just littered the cave and even the water that you would see in the stream.
How hard has it been to get this back to where people can come and enjoy it again?
So we were able to do this with the help of our new owners, the Overstreets. They put in a gate, which really helped to stop it. So once something was cleaned up, it was able to remain clean. And also a big shout out to the Nomad group, because they came in and helped remove that by hand. Some of the graffiti that lays within the wild tour, that has to be done by hand, and that's looking at me doing that right now. So that's probably gonna take into about 5 years to get that fully removed from the cave.
Well, I can't wait to explore it. I've never been here before, so I'm ready to get going.
Awesome, well let's go caving and check out Stalactite Hall.
So Destiny, I've also heard there's a lot of local legends that surround the cave. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Yeah, so that originally started in the 1950s. There was a publishing of a book, and the gentleman who wrote it as science fiction, in which he said there were mystic beings that lived within this cave. And on his deathbed, he said, well, this is actually a true story. And after that, there was a second group. It's a book that was also published that came in, supposedly did exploration throughout the cave, and some of them never came back. They ended up living with these blue people. So it's called The Legend of the Blue People. And I'm not sure a lot about it. Never seen a blue person. Supposedly, if you're pure in heart, you will get to see them. So I'm a little bit disappointed. They're kind of shady. To check out some cave amphipods or cave shrimp, and all of these species have started to make a major comeback, and that's happening because of controlling the foot traffic. So simply placing these rocks to keep people from stepping through the pools. You can actually see where there are old footprints through here. So upon further inspection, if we get closer, you'll start to see their little bitty white amphipods. So they're basically cave shrimp. Just make sure you stay out of the water, and then we can get a closer look to spot them. Oh, there they are right there.
Oh, they are tiny.
They are very tiny. We also have a giant one that prior to this year were only found at the Cave City Cave.
Tell me a little bit more about the salamanders, how many you had a few years ago and then how many you have now.
Right, so before I became a guide here, I would still come in and do what's called a biodiversity count, and I would measure the population of those salamanders. And what I was finding is that we would only have about 30 to 40 babies in specific pools each year. Well, after putting up the gate and monitoring where people stepped, we have had 700 babies for 2 years in a row.
Wow.
So it has just skyrocketed in the population.
Very cool. What do you hope to continue seeing for Blowing Cave in the next 5-10 years?
I'd love to continue to see the people that are coming, the public that is now coming to the cave, and the locals who have always been here continue to help restore, protect the cave, and leave it better than they found it, and preserving it for future generations. Because we're in the presence of something that was here before our names were called into existence, and it'll be here long after we're gone, and I think that's very special.
Well, if someone wants to come take a wild tour, how do they need to get in contact with you?
In order to get in contact with us for the wild tour, they simply have to make a reservation by contacting the number 870-668-6254.
Perfect. So guys, if you have never, been caving before, if it seems like, maybe a little overwhelming, I promise you Destiny is going to take good care of you. She took good care of me, and I'm not the most graceful person.
Oh,
so.
She's amazing. She's a natural.
But for real, guys, get in contact. Bring your kids. 12 and up can do those wild tours, so it's going to be a really fun time for families, I know for sure. Well, thank you so much for taking me around.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me on this road trip today. As always, thank you so much to our sponsor, First Security Bank, for making these trips possible. And you can go to KIT8.com/road trip to see everywhere we've been and let us know where we should go for our next adventure. See you there.